On the 14th of August 2008, the Chief Minister, Srimati Sheila Dikshit, had formally launched the Samajik Suvidha Sangam and reiterated her commitment to extend the benefits of social safety net to the people who deserved it the most. On the same day, she distributed ration cards to almost 15,000 homeless. Yet, there were thousands others who had to be identified and entitled to access the various welfare schemes run by the government. It was a daunting task, as most of the vulnerable lived in places inaccessible even to sunlight. True, many of them might be living in colonies that are yet to be regularized, but would it be ethical to exclude them from the legitimate humane entitlements? Most often, the vulnerable are forced out of the welfare consideration as they lack the capacity to engage with the government to access their entitlements. The question is, should they be deprived of their rights because of deficiencies in the local service system? Global thinking on development now converges on the idea of making services for the poor work. The government of Delhi has also taken a pledge to reform the entire delivery process. It has also formulated a new set of criteria for defining poverty based on urban poverty index rather than relying on purely income criteria. These criteria relate to their place of residence, their occupation, and their social vulnerability. The next major challenge was to identify such people who had been denied welfare entitlement schemes for various reasons. These are the people who have no means or negotiating skills and capacity to overcome the labyrinth of government procedures. We could not wait for them to come to us and queue in front of our offices. Instead, we had to go to their doorsteps and invite them to avail of the benefits of welfare schemes that had so thoughtfully been prepared for them. Those who create assets, beautify and run the city must also share the fruits of development. Thus we formed an army of volunteers who could be entrusted with the task of conducting survey to identify the vulnerable. These volunteers were picked from the very same communities being surveyed. This process has dual advantage. First, the surveyors were aware of the realities of the community they're to work with. Secondly, it provided people from the vulnerable communities an opportunity for employment. The task force was organized with St. Stephen's Hospital at the helm. It included 9 district resource centers and 80 gender resource centers. The responsibility of preparing the data bank has been given to the Community Health Department of the St. Stephen's Hospital. Its central coordination unit is based at the St. Stephen's Community Health Center at Sundarnagri. The volunteers of the Gender Resource Centres form its basic unit that does the spade work and leaves no stone unturned to ensure that not one vulnerable person is left out. The district resource centres serve as intermediaries between the various gender resource centres and the central coordination unit.
जितनी भी योजनाएं हैं, चाहे वो वृद्धों की पेंशन हो, चाहे विधवा पेंशन हो, ये सब लोगों के अधिकार हैं। ये लोगों को कोई लाभ नहीं है। जब अधिकार हैं तो ये लोगों तक पहुंचाया जाना भी सरकार की जिम्मेदारी बन जाती है। अगर मिशन को सक्सेसफुल होना है तो ये बहुत ज़रूरी है कि मिशन उन लोगों को जान सके कि किन तक वो उनके अधिकार पहुंचाने हैं। इसके तहत ये सोचा गया कि एक ऐसा सर्वे किया जाए जिससे हम सभी जितने भी ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा गरीब और वंचित वर्ग के लोग हैं उनकी पहचान कर सकें, उनके नाम, पते और उनको क्या सुविधाएं मिल रही हैं, किससे वो वंचित हैं, ये सब की जानकारी हम ले सकें।
To make the people aware of the survey operations and gain their confidence and faith in this exercise, Nukkar Natak or street plays are performed.
मेरी उम्र ऐसी हो गई है कि मैं कोई काम भी नहीं कर सकता।
मेरे छोटे छोटे दो बच्चे हैं जिन्हें मैं पढ़ा लिखा कर कुछ काबिल बनाना चाहती हूँ।
अगर हमें इतनी जानकारी है ना भी हमें इतनी जागरूकता हो, हमें पता हो हमारे लिए किस सारी सुविधाएं, तो हमें इनके आगे धक्के ना खाने पड़े। अब इन सब परेशानियों से छुटकारा दिलाएगी हमें सामाजिक सुविधा संगम।
After a considerable amount of awareness has been generated, a team of volunteers ventures into the community and puts each and every household on its map. A unique number is allotted to all such households. With this map as a guide, another team of volunteers conducts a detailed study that covers each and every member of those households. These data are then handed over to the district resource centres, which in turn hands it over to the Central Coordination Unit. It is only after thorough verifications at every step that data is fed into the data bank. At the administrative level, the governing council of the Samajik Suvidha Sangam, or Mission Convergence, is chaired by the Chief Secretary of the State Government, whereas the Program Management Unit is headed by the Mission Director. For implementation of this mission at the district level, district convergence forums have been formed in all the 9 districts. The Deputy Commissioner provides required secretariat, monitoring and other incidental assistance for smooth implementation of the project at this level. The task of identification of the vulnerable is now in its second phase. By the end of the first phase, we had successfully surveyed almost 5,500,000 households, whereas during the second stage, we have added 3,100,000 more. Thus far, we've embraced almost 4 million people under the folds of our survey, and we expect to cross the 5 million mark by the end of our endeavour. In spite of this, we realise that much is still to be done. So far, we have only worked towards identification of the vulnerable, whereas the real challenge of empowering and entitling the vulnerable for various welfare schemes lies ahead of us. However, we are satisfied over the fact that we have not only given receipts to the people in question, but we have also given them hopes. Those who felt exhausted and hopeless, running from pillar to post, in order to get their entitlement for schemes like Ladli or Mamta, old age pension or Janani Suraksha, health insurance or the construction workers' welfare schemes, now look to the Samajik Suvidha Kendra with a new ray of hope.
सुविधा केंद्र में स्वागत सभी का, दोस्त नयाल बेला, सबकी है भागीदारी, योजना लाभकारी, सुविधाओं का मेला। तो आओ